Hey Cubs fans, welcome to the backfields of Arizona, where we're joined now by Drew Gray. He's a left-handed pitcher drafted in the third round of the 2021 first-year player draft out of IMG Academy. And Drew, welcome to the show. Welcome to Marquee Sports Night. What is your first interview you're doing with us? I got to ask, it's a good place to start with IMG because 2022 second rounder Jackson Ferris was also drafted. You guys are both lefties. You're both from IMG Academy. So I have to ask, how many conversations did you have with VP of Scouting Dan Kantrovitz saying that you should draft a guy like Jackson Ferris, who was your roommate?
No, I mean, I definitely threw their names out there. A bunch of guys that I used to play with at IMG that I think they were looking at pretty heavy. But when I saw that he got drafted, I was super excited. I mean, it's cool to have, obviously. But no,
he was your roommate, so I got to ask, does he snore? Does he have any weird quirks or anything?
I guess I'll give his whole, I mean, when I was there, he wore the same like underwear for every start, obviously clean, but for every start. And I mean, by the end of the season, they were like torn apart.
I'm glad he washed them.
Yeah, no, they were clean.
That's
sure.
Great stuff. So you were born in St. Louis Hospital. If you're a Cardinal fan, don't tell anybody. We don't need to know. Grown up, don't worry about it. But you went to high school at Belleville, Illinois, right on the border of Missouri, and then eventually transferred to IMG Academy, which I know has a huge baseball pedigree. They produced a ton of major league talent and prospects. So why make the transition to a school like IMG?
Honestly, it was kind of like I was almost forced to in a way because it was over when all the COVID stuff was happening. Illinois was very strict with the like COVID regulations, stuff like that. So already in July, I'm expecting to go back to Bevel East, and then IHSA comes out like they're saying they're moving the football season to the spring and then pushing the baseball season back, shortening the games. And then at that time, there's so much uncertainty, and it sounded like there was only going to be like a 12-15 game season. So I guess I kind of sat down with like my family, advisors, stuff like that, just to figure out what the best option was. And I think, I mean, the two options were IMG did reach out to me, so that was one of the options, and then the other was to talk to Arkansas, which is where I was committed to graduate early. And I mean, we figured IMG was a better option, which if I would have made that, I guess, graduation early to Arkansas, I mean, I would be in a different spot now. So
Absolutely.
I'm happy with that decision.
I mentioned the third rounder in 2021. How was draft day for you? Were you really hyped to be in the Cubs organization?
Yeah, it was funny you say that because it's like I did grow up a Cardinals fan.
It's all right.
So it was I mean, I was expecting calls. It was still pretty 50-50 if I was going to go to Arkansas, go to the draft or whatever. But when it happened, it was, I mean, like almost a split-second decision, really.
Yeah.
And I had invited family, friends over after, celebrated. It was a great experience. I mean, super excited. And then once I finally got down here, it was, I guess, knew I made the right decision.
Yeah, no doubt. So the thing I've buried here, the buried lead here, is that you recently underwent Tommy John surgery earlier this year. Wanted to start the interview on a positive note, but now, of course, we got to get into the Tommy John. When you found out you had Tommy John, I imagine your emotions were probably a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured before when I was throwing, building up for the season, and I felt something, and it obviously didn't feel good. So then went and got MRIs and stuff to see what happened, but kind of it's hard to accept at first.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe I just take the weekend off and come back Monday and be able to throw again, but it wasn't like that. And I mean, once I heard the news, it was obviously sucks because season gone right there. But I mean, I know I'm in a good spot with the Cubs. This would have been probably a development year anyways with me. So if there was any time I had to get it done, it was this year, and I accepted that. I mean, I can't change the fact that it was torn. So I took this year. I was like, okay, yeah, it's a development year. Get stronger, figure out some mechanic stuff, and then get back next year better now than later.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about the support system you had around you, whether it be family or even some of the coaches here? Who's kind of backed you up to the point now where you're throwing again and you're really excited to get off the mound really soon?
I mean, definitely family and friends, like always checking in was super cool. Like people from home asking how everything was going. But then, yeah, trainers, coaches, everything, like they're talking me through every step. They're making sure I'm comfortable, know what to expect, stuff like that. And I mean, I guess I will say the best thing is there's a bunch of past Tommy John guys have been basically telling me what to expect, so I know, I mean, there's going to be ups and downs, just that's part of it.
Sure.
So I think that was the main thing. They had a bunch of guys in this org that helped out.
Mm-hmm. So the majority of this year, you've obviously been down here on the backfields in Arizona rehabbing. I imagine there's been other guys around here too. I don't know if you've interacted with like a Cody Hoyer at all. He's also a Tommy John guy. But who else, from the organization on the player side, have you kind of maybe gotten to know a little bit better, especially as a young guy coming into the org? I imagine you've been around some guys who are older. What have they taught you?
I'd say everybody. I mean, there's a bunch of guys in and out of rehab every year, and obviously I was here all summer. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool seeing big league guys like that. They don't act too big, include everybody. They're super nice, so they make you feel, I guess, comfortable. But yeah, there's definitely a bunch of guys that I've met, got closer with, whereas before, I was the first year guy out of high school. Mm-hmm. Didn't really know many guys in the org, but definitely this year, met a bunch of people, I guess furthered relationships with people, which was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So heading into next year, you mentioned you're going to be thrown off the mound relatively soon. Maybe you won't start the season right at Myrtle Beach, but I imagine hopefully there's some progression to get to that point. But overall, just looking through, your path to this point, what you throw and what you feature, the thing I think I'm most interested in is velocity for the most part. I think you were 90-91 in complex. You were saying back at IMG you were a little bit higher, you could gas it up a little bit. But what do you expect to be velocity-wise coming into next season?
I expect to be mid-90s, and then I guess just as importantly, hold it throughout outings. Mm-hmm. So it all lasts and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I definitely gotten stronger over this year. Still have about 6 more months to go. Mm-hmm. And but definitely getting stronger, and then a bunch of mechanical changes not a bunch, but a couple major things that I am confident will shoot me up pretty high.
Absolutely. The rest of your mix, you also feature a curveball, slider, and a changeup. I imagine you probably haven't dug into shape changes or things you want to do differently with those pitches, but do you expect your mix to be the same coming into next year?
Yeah, it would most likely be the same. I know probably not going to add a pitch coming right out of it, but changeup I've already started throwing, and I think I found a grip that I'm comfortable with, which is new for me. Changeup's always been the one that's fallen behind. I've been confident fastball, slider, curveball, but hopefully this next year I'll have a changeup to go along with everything to make that a little better.
Absolutely. Your fastball's a pitch, I think, you throw from a little low slop, but you're able to get a little bit of that ride such that the approach of the pitch at the plate's pretty flat. I think that's one of the things that maybe makes it so effective. What do you think makes your fastball so effective?
I would say that, yeah. In high school, my fastball would always play. I didn't really know why. I didn't have the analytics or like the data to know why, but when I got here with the Cubs, I'd have access to all that, so I can see, like low release height, which is about like 5'6", 5'7", and then also I've known I had ride and like high spin on my fastballs, which obviously those two play together is a good profile. But definitely confident in that pitch. The jump from high school to pro ball had to gain confidence with my fastball just to see if it still played against professional hitters, because it's a big difference.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident that it does, especially with the hopefully added velo, stuff like that. It'll work well.
You absolutely dominated 2021 in trucks. You only threw a couple innings, but I think you K'd 9 guys through 4 and a ton of swing and miss for the most part and everything you were featuring. How excited are you to get back on the bump and get back into competitive games?
Can't be more excited. I was excited for this upcoming season because of how last season ended and having a full off season with the strength staff and development coaches and stuff. So I was excited for this season, pretty confident going in. So I think I'm just adding on. It's holding on to that confidence and I guess readiness to be dominant next year.
Absolutely love it. Drew Gray, lefty from IMG Academy, drafted in the 3rd round of 2021. Big Cup prospect. I think he's going to make a jump in the coming year. Thanks a ton for joining us, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.